GearWebsites.com is your source for firearms-based playing cards and books. We also have mugs, shirts, and posters with designs that we've made live. Of course, we have patches. Every Friday is Free Patch Friday. We appreciate your support. Thank you for shopping at GearWebsites.com.
It's 11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And welcome, everybody, to a special edition of our Daily Gun Show, where we just go live while we're working on stuff. So I've got some tasks to perform here, and when I do those, I listen to stuff on YouTube usually, sometimes on podcasts when I can, but I often find the YouTube ones to just be a little more easy, I guess, to access through the app on my other machine here. So while I'm a little bit distracted fiddling with something here, I will get started updating guncalendars.com. So guncalendars.com, I honestly don't even remember when I built that. Probably this was one of the good names. I think of these as the good names. And I grabbed that one back in 2006 or something. And I'm sure by 2009 it was up and running. I've always liked the idea of keeping track of things in time for lots of reasons. Just interesting, you know, it's to keep track of things, but it's also a useful resource to have as far as implementing tactics, or whatever the words are, to like create strategy, because often we learn from things that have happened in the past, both successes and failures. Both you can learn from both our side and the other side. You know, you can learn from things that were cool and things that weren't. And then we also have an obligation, I believe, if we have any kind of, I don't know, like actual interest in our community, to pay attention to things that were significant. And some of those things are not, but it's not our choice necessarily to decide what gets passed down. So a lot of the stuff that I'll focus on here, it's not necessarily my cup of tea, but I don't care. I'm trying to put as much as I can in here. Now, that being said, I put a filter on it. If it isn't effort towards the Second Amendment, guess what? Somebody else can put the effort into it. I don't pay for this. I'm not independently wealthy. If I was, I probably would pay for this, but I'm not. So what I do is have a Patreon going, and that gives us a bunch of people subscribe to what we do, and that gives us time to work on projects like that. So if you look down there, am I pointing at it? If you look down at the bottom of the screen, how am I going to point? There we go. Look at the bottom of the screen down there. You'll see there's a message scrolling down there that we leave on there all the time, and it's to thank our Patreons. We have only 145 right now. It's gone down quite a bit in the last couple of weeks, understandably. Lots of pressures on people, but we have 145 people that subscribe to what we do, and that makes it possible for us to spend time on things like this and to create a group of websites. We call ourselves Gun Websites because I started way before YouTube doing this stuff, and we have a bunch of different websites that are resources. Hopefully my audio still works now. One of them is guncalendars.com. I'll quickly mention again, because we're thanking the Patreons for making this stuff possible. You don't see any ads on here. The only ads on here are for our Patreons. That's the largest one, because they literally pay the bills on this server and on the software that we're using, and on my time to keep this all updated. There's no staff, and there's no, you know, that this isn't guaranteed or nothing. This is effort, and that's paid for by the Patreons. That's provided by the Patreons. We also have some links to cool resources. So every time you refresh the page, you're going to get a different, well, you should get a different resource down here. And in this case, it's a Great Shark Shooting School, and it was something else. And now it's Tony with 2A4E and the Firearms Training Association. I'm not affiliated with any of these people other than to be fans of them. So we have people in our banner rotation that have no affiliation with us. We're just trying to support them by putting the information out there. If you scroll up a little bit, you'll see a thing that says, "We support the Second Amendment." And it's, you know, just a statement, and I thought it was neat from back in the day. Kind of left it on our websites for a long time. We have the Minuteman University link, which is an effort to offer skills and resources to Second Amendment advocates. Also, no advertising or anything like that. Every Second Matters is a campaign since 2013 to bring people together and to make awareness of what our Second Amendment protects on the second day of each month. We do have a link to the Second Amendment Foundation, to the Arizona Citizens Defense League, to JPFO, and to Gun Owners of America, because those are 4 organizations that have accomplished quite a bit. None of them pay us anything. And then our own gun website's down there at the bottom. So if you consider that an ad, then go for it. Otherwise, there's no ads on this project. This is a project to offer our gun community, both future, present, and past, to everyone who wants to use it. Hopefully the antis will use this resource to understand why we don't just fetishize items or violence or actions or whatever the hell they try to marginalize us into. And for all the gun owners out there to see just what a huge community we have and the kind of awesome stuff that has happened and the stuff that might be coming up, right? We have anniversaries in the upcoming calendar, but we also have alerts to events that are showing up. And the only way we're able to do that is by going live. Well, I don't have to go live, but by doing that is to go in here and update everything. So I feel like going live today. I have about an hour I can squeeze in before I got to go do something IRL, as the kids would say. So that's how I get this stuff done, is I squeeze an hour in here or there. And in this case, I'm going to be listening to Riding Shotgun with Charlie, so you don't have to listen to me. He's got Michael Schwartz on, who's a full-time Second Amendment activist out in California, who hosts a radio show and runs or helps lead a bunch of different organizations focused on California and Southern California gun owners' rights, both raising awareness and funding for appropriate campaigns, and then bringing people together for real life events. Some really interesting projects taking place over there. They have a radio show that streams live as they record on Sunday evenings. I recommend you check that out. They'll talk about it in the show, but that's called Gun Owners Radio, or Gun Owners Radio, I think. All right, so what we're going to be doing on the screen here is checking out the events that are coming up that I may have missed or not have yet included in the Gun Calendars project. We'll also be updating past events from a spreadsheet that I use as a cheat sheet to make sure that the calendar is current. There's quite a few events in here, but it might not be all of them. We try to have a mix of events from military stuff, from, of course, Second Amendment history, from gun history, gun inventions and inventors, some significant things for laws, and you'll see a bunch of different things. The way it's set up is it's a calendar, and as people dig into stuff, they'll get a little preview. So you'll see it takes a little bit of effort to set that up, not a bunch of it. And this is the kind of stuff I'll, squeeze into hours here and there. So thanks for joining us. If you are live, Gunpowder Beauty is out there, Second Amendment activist out from, I think still in Missouri. And then Black Bear Forge, who I've heard of before, and I don't know where they are, somewhere where there's black bears, probably. I don't know if it's cool for black bears to have Iron Forge, but I guess they can bear arms, so it must be okay. All right, well, we're going to dig in, and I apologize if I ignore everybody. I'm probably just going to set the headset down and get to work here because I only have an hour, and I don't know how. One of the problems with doing stuff like this is I don't know how big a task this is. It might be nothing this month, and it might be 3 hours worth of work, but I'm about to discover that. And we're going to be listening to Riding Shotgun with Charlie, who just dropped this video earlier today, so I'm basically corking his work. Listening to him chat with Michael Schwartz in a vehicle driving around at the gun prom, which happened recently in San Diego. Yeah, you heard me right, a gun prom. I think they'll talk about it on the show over here. Where's my mouse? If I can get my mouse to be found, there it is. My mouse is really slow for some reason on this machine.
Driver holding a shotgun in case they ran into bandits. My name is Charlie Cook, and I drive a lot. I like to talk to people while I'm driving, so I interview people in my car while I'm driving. Welcome to Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Hey there, thanks for watching this episode of Riding Shotgun with Charlie and tuning into the show. If you are watching on YouTube and you are not a subscriber, please subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit the notification bell. It's good for all things YouTube related, and I'm glad you guys are here. I have been watching the analytics on YouTube, and there are more new people watching the show, which is wonderful. But we want to get those get you guys to subscribe to the show as well. So if you can do that, we greatly appreciate it. We hope you enjoy the episode. All right, welcome to this episode of Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Today, this is part of the Southern California tour, and I am with Michael Schwartz from San Diego County Gun Owners and Gun Owner Radio. Gun Owners? Is there an S?
Gun Owners Radio.
Gun Owners Radio. So we're here with him. He just had a great event called Gun Prom. Michael, thank you so much for being on the show.
Oh,
Thank you for
Charlie, I didn't even recognize you, man. I thought this was my Uber. Oh, geez, this is great. Okay, this works.
This works.
Have you thought about charging your guests, like doing part Uber, part riding shotgun? I mean, make a couple of bucks for production.
That would be nice.
Yeah, right? That would be nice. I can be your guinea pig. Thank you for having me. No, seriously.
Thank you for being on the show.
Huge pleasure having you here in San Diego for our event last night. It was very, very awesome. I can't believe you came all the way out here. But
oh my gosh. Well, we're going to blame it all on John Petrolino, who I need to thank. Send a special shout out to John Petrolino. He is known as the Pen Patriot. He won an award last night. He's now an award-winning writer.
yes, yes.
Which is cool. But he's letting us use his stagecoach while he's out vacationing with his family. I am out driving his car around and racking the miles and $6.15 gas. That's all right.
Welcome to California.
Oh my God. Anyway, let's talk about you. Let's talk about how you started, or why you started San Diego County Gun Owners and how that turned into
What it is today.
yeah, the Gun Owners Radio, the Gun Prom, all this stuff.
Well, it's about 7 years ago. I was doing activism. A bunch of people were doing more and more activism, Second Amendment, political activism for years. And really kind of felt like, people would kind of, hey, we're all for the Second Amendment. And then they go off and vote for people or support people that are running for office who didn't care about the Second Amendment. And so we kind of felt like, we were getting patted on the head, like, oh, that's cute, see you later, And started looking around and, okay, well, what groups, who's making a difference in San Diego, like across the board?
Right.
And started looking at those different organizations to see what they had in common. And what they had in common was they were raising money. They had a lot of members, they had full-time staff, and they were building a community, whatever their issue or interest was. They were building a community. So we decided, hey, you know what? We're going to do all that. The other thing they all had in common is they were almost all really based in tax policy. It's really what it boiled down to.
What do you mean?
There were anti-tax organizations. There were taxpayer protection organizations. There were even the local Republican Party wasn't standing up for any kind of social issue or anything other than, hey, we're going to fight whatever tax the Democrats are trying to impose on. So it was just all about taxes. And I said, you know what? We're going to do all the same stuff, but rather than tax policy or anything else, we're just going to talk about guns. We're going to talk about the Second Amendment. So we did all that. We started an organization. We endorse people. We take membership. We have full-time staff. And last night at our dinner at Gun Prom, that's a big part of building a community.
Yeah.
It's 700 plus people there.
Yeah, what do you call that? A fundraiser and a friend raiser?
Yeah, fundraiser and friend raiser.
I love that.
And so that's what, we have 3,200 members in San Diego, and we're a community. We are the Second Amendment community in San Diego. And so that's what we did. And it's just worked. So last night when I was talking to the crowd, more people own guns because of San Diego County Gun Owners, more people carry guns for defense, more people run for office because of, San Diego County Gun Owners, more people vote.
All right, well, now you're going to learn how I listen to stuff. So I'm listening to it over here on the other machine, but this is the one that's in front of you right now is the one that's on the machine that I'm on now. I've got two different computers here. So that way I can leave stuff like that speaker. That computer has bigger speakers, so I can hear it, and I don't have to worry about whatever I got running. That machine isn't tying up whatever I'm trying to do on this machine. So it's over there. I'm over here. That means I got to open up the video to comment in on it over here. By the way, that machine is not logged into YouTube, so it's not registering as a user as I watch people, which is kind of a downside, but it's an aspect of it. So over here, I'm registering that, as a channel, I'm logged in and watching this video, and I've already made a comment. However, Mike just made a great point there about calling his event a friend raiser. So I'm going to go back to that other machine and effectively go back on the little red line here, right? I'm going to go back a couple of minutes, 5 minutes into a 51-minute interview. This is why things take a while, because I'm going to listen to that again.
We're just going to talk about guns. We're going to talk about Second Amendment. So we did all that. We started an organization. We endorse people. We take membership. We have full-time staff. And last night at our dinner at Gun Prom, that's a big part of building a community. Yeah. There had 700 plus people there.
So what I'm going to do is pause that again. And this was...
We are the Second Amendment community. Yeah, fundraiser and a friend. We have full-time staff. And last night...
So 506, he says, at last night. So you type in 5:06 space, and now that's a timestamp for 506. That's when he's talking about Gun Prom.
Our dinner at Gun Prom, that's a big part of building a community. Yeah. There had 700 plus people there.
Yeah, what do you call that? A fundraiser and a friend raiser?
Yeah, fundraiser and a friend raiser.
I love that.
Right?
And
so a fundraiser and a friend raiser. That's awesome.
San Diego, and we're a community. We are the Second Amendment community in San Diego.
So I made a timestamp of that. I'll put the headset back over there and keep listening. Pause it for a second. You can pause YouTube videos by hitting a space bar on a keyboard that's, within arm's reach, so you don't have to put a lot of effort into listening to that machine. Anyway, I'm going to leave this video, which is in its own window over here, over on another monitor that you can't see. And that way, I'll just leave it open. And that way, if there's something else of interest, I can make another timestamp. And one, it lets the person who you're listening to and the interview person know that somebody listened to their video and paid attention to it, appreciates it enough to create a table of contents effectively for others who might want to come back and reference some cool points. Now, I could additionally, once I finish with all that, because Charlie has the clippy thing on his video here, I'll finish the video eventually, and then every once in a while I'm going to save this. I could save it right now, just so that if something happens, it's a video, it's a comment on his thing. Now I can go in and edit it and be in the same stage as I was a second ago as soon as my computer catches up. So I don't know why it's taking a second there. And so now I'm basically where I was before. I'm staged and ready to add more timestamps. And if you've ever seen a video that I appreciate, it's because I've been sitting here doing something while I'm listening to it, and then have this open and staged, and then I'll do this. I'll pause the video, look at the time, the moment it happened. This is the exact moment when they said,
dinner at Gun Prom. That's a big part of building a community.
Right? So that's the part that I timestamped right there. So I don't need to really be attention to it here, but I could eventually go into my timestamps, hit my timestamps. So if I go back and just cancel this, it's now a comment again. Hit that timestamp and then turn it into a clip.
Dinner at Gun Prom. That's a big part of building a community. Yeah. There had 700 plus people there.
Yeah, what do you call that? A fundraiser or a friend raiser?
Yeah, fundraiser and friend raiser.
I love that.
And so that's what you have tonight at our dinner at
right.
Gun Prom. That's a big part of
that. Turns it into a YouTube clip, and I name it Gun Prom equals 700 plus people. A fundraiser and a friend raiser, and then I'll put in California.
Yeah, what do you call that? A fundraiser or a friend raiser?
Yeah, fundraiser and friend raiser.
I love that.
Now, if I wanted to, I could wiggle this little bar, because he says, I love that. And then he says, so I can get rid of that so and by moving the little handle or the what do they call this? Transform handle, something like that. grab this little handly thingy and just wiggle it. It was at 15.
And, so that night at our dinner had gun drop. At night at our dinner.
So now it's 13.7 seconds, I guess, instead of 15. So you can really tweak that. And if I really wanted to, I could fiddle with this. See, now it kind of blends right into the beginning of the next one. So we're going to share that clip. So now that's created a clip on our channel, which is useless, I guess, but we can now link to that clip on our channel, and that might have a little bit more use, because now that's just 13 seconds of Mike and Charlie having a little back and forth, which gives an idea of what their his interview style is like and what they were chatting about that day, and the great achievements that Southern California, San Diego County gun owners have done. So I'm going to continue to listen to this on my other machine again, just letting you know that I do pause every once in a while, because something like this that I've been looking forward to. I've been interested to hear the conversation with Michael. They filmed this a while back, so I've been waiting for it to come up or come live. I knew it was coming. So again, I'm just editing the calendar over here. Now I've got myself down to about 40 minutes before I got to take off. So I'm adding items to our guncalendars.com as I'm listening to Riding Shotgun with Charlie, and y'all are following along for the ride if there's anybody out there. It says there are.
Own guns because of San Diego County gun owners. More people carry guns for defense. More people run for office because of San Diego County gun owners. More people vote. Just more and more. We're just building the community. More people read about us and listen to us, and that's all a good thing. It's changing culture.
It is good stuff. Everyone, not a lot of folks that I know that
That's all a good thing. It's changing culture.
It is good stuff. Everyone, not a lot of folks that I know that do stuff like that have radio shows or podcasts or YouTube channels or whatever. There's something else that they do. So John and I were trying to figure this out. We're like, so he's like, Michael was, I think he was involved in banking, and then like. All he does now is San Diego County Gunners. I'm like, so Michael Schwartz is Michael Schwartz all the time?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah.
I'm a professional Michael Schwartz. That's what I do. That's my resume. It just says Michael Schwartz. Experience, awesome. Michael Schwartz.
Oh my God.
So that's the other part is when we started, we built the organization and figured out, all right, this is how we're going to do it. This is the mission statement, et cetera, et cetera. And it's kind of funny. There's a lot of stuff when you're building an organization or you're starting an organization, I should say. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of decisions that have to be made. You don't really anticipate. Like I remember sitting in front of some graphic artists and they're showing me like 3 or 4 different logos. And I'm like, I don't know how to make this. Like, how do I decide which logo to use? How do I decide what color it should be?
Right.
So there was a lot. So I thought, hey, we're just going to do this gun group and it'll be great. And then there were like 100,000 decisions that had to be made.
Sure.
And one of them was, who's going to work for this organization? Who's going to leave their career or whatever they're doing and run this organization? So yeah, I was in banking for like 15, 16 years. And I sprinted away from banking to do this. It's extremely rewarding.
Yeah.
That's an extremely rewarding job. It's really, really fulfilling. People are so appreciative of what we do. It's really great. But yeah, that's what I do full time. We organize people, we raise money, engage with media. That's what I do full time.
This is the dinner.
I gotta pull you. So appreciative of what we do. It's really great. But yeah, that's what I do full time. We organize people, we raise money, engage with media. That's what I do full time.
This is the dinner.
I gotta pull you.
This is the dinner.
It's really great. But yeah, that's what I do full time. We organize people, we raise money, engage with media. That's what I do full time.
This is the dinner.
I gotta pull you.
This is weird.
Yeah, we don't make it easy. We don't make it easy to drive at all. We high gas prices, engage with media. That's what I do full time. We organize people, we raise money, engage with media. That's That's what I do full time.
This is the 10.
You gotta pull it in.
This is weird.
Yeah, we don't make it easy. We don't make it easy to drive at all. High gas prices, confusing streets.
All right. So before you start saying you got kind of gun owners, what's your gun background? How long did you go? Did you grow up hunting or shooting?
So never hunt. I've still this day I've never hunted.
No?
Not a hunter at all.
Okay.
My old man had guns. We didn't really go shooting at all. I mean, I remember I got a BB gun when I was 10, and he taught me, the rules, right?
Yeah,
exactly. So I knew gun safety, and I wasn't really, but I was always into it. Grew up watching Red Dawn, right?
Red Dawn,
the documentary, and then when I was I played paintball when I was in high school. That was fun.
Mm-hmm.
There were a lot of gun guys in that group. And then when I was 20, I just couldn't wait to be 21 so I could go buy a Glock. I wanted a Glock 19 so bad.
Yeah.
And bought a Glock, and that didn't scratch the itch. So I went and bought a Mossberg 500 that I still own. That didn't scratch the itch. And so I went back in and I bought an AR. And I remember the guy telling me I wanted an AK.
Yeah.
Because of Red Dawn, right? And the guy was like, look, he basically said all the AKs are gone. And I said, well, I don't really want an AR. And he said, look, these are about to get banned. You definitely want to get this now. Wow. And this would have been, like 98, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, that's right when they were implementing a new version of the assault weapons ban, quote unquote, in California. And so, boom, those are 3 guns. And I just kind of had them, kind of went to the range every now and then, didn't know what I was doing really for years. And then what happened was, here's the story. What happened was in 2007, my wife and another couple and I went out shooting in the desert and got harassed by law enforcement.
Really?
And it was that same Mossberg 500. It had just a pistol grip. It had no stock. That's right. Yeah, exactly. And he said, "Oh, this is illegal in California." And I politely corrected him and politely, had a conversation with him and basically proved that he didn't really know what he was talking about, very politely.
Mm-hmm.
And I got really bummed out. And I thought, man, something has to change. I remember going back to work and talking to my friends, after the weekend, and they were kind of like, gosh, what were you doing out there shooting guns? Like I was doing something wrong. And I just thought, it's got to change. So I got involved in the NRA. I got involved in the Republican Party. I got involved in every campaign, every group I could think of. And we made a bunch of mistakes and, did a lot of things right. Eventually, San Diego County got ours. Wow. That's the story.
That's pretty interesting.
But I got to tell you, I really can't emphasize enough, being harassed like that, kind of being singled out for exercising it right, that had an effect. And it made me look at other groups who have experienced similar with a little bit different view. And I think that really kind of built, so that's kind of built into the culture of San Diego County Governors. I don't know if you looked across the room much last night, but there was every kind of person in the room.
Yeah.
Every kind of person, young, old, different heritage, different lifestyle, different, economic, you name it. But we're a rights group, that's what we're all about. It happens to be the Second Amendment, but we're all about, rights and freedom.
It's hard to mix. It's hard to not mix guns and politics because often it's the left that are the anti-gun folks, but it's not always the case.
And that was frustrating. There's too many. I think too many for years. Too many gun owners. They were doing 3 things wrong. Number one, they were relying on lawsuits, completely relying on lawsuits. And I think it's because some people were just downright lazy. They didn't want to get involved. Hey, you know what? We'll just pay a lawyer to do it. And some people just didn't know what to do. Like, well, I don't know what to do. We'll sue them. Yeah, didn't know what to do. So there's a lot of reasons, but we were way too reliant on lawsuits. And lawsuits are risky, lawsuits are expensive, they take a long time. And the other thing is, the thing that none of us want to say or admit is that there are some gun laws that we hate that aren't going to lose in court. Whether that's right or wrong, that's totally up for debate. Whether I agree with it or not, it doesn't matter. But the reality is there are some gun laws out there that we hate that eventually, courts are going to decide, hey, you know what, this isn't so bad. Right? So relying on lawsuits was a huge mistake.
Man. Yes. I just heard what he's
mistake
saying.
number 2 was I should have stayed at Holiday Inn Express last night. Just fell ahead. Oh, not engaging with eventually, whether that's right or wrong, they didn't want to get involved. Hey, you know what? Let's pay a lawyer to do it. And some people just didn't know what to do. Like, I don't know what to do. It's so didn't know what to do. So there's a lot of reasons, but we were way too reliant on lawsuits. And lawsuits are risky. Lawsuits are expensive. They take a long time. And the other thing is, the thing that none of us want to say or admit is that there are some gun laws that we hate that aren't going to lose in court. Whether that's right or wrong, that's totally up for debate. Whether I agree with it or not, it doesn't matter. But the reality is there are some gun laws out there that we hate that eventually, courts are going to decide, hey, you know what, this isn't so bad. Right? So relying on lawsuits was a huge mistake. Mistake number 2 was I should have stayed at Holiday Inn Express last night. Just fell ahead. Oh, not engaging with media. Yeah. Just ignore, the liberal media, those guys are all jerks, and just completely disengaging with media, and they end up kind of being in their own little bubble. And then when an election happens, for example, they think, well, gosh, how did all these people vote for this horrible person?
Yep.
Right? Well, because you don't know any of those people. You're in your own little gun bubble. Right? And there are all these people outside of that bubble who would care if they heard the message. So we really.
So Smeggy's saying that, because I just threw the poll up there if anybody wants to hit it. First, Mike is on fire right now. So this whole concept of 3 things that the 2A is getting wrong or has historically got wrong. First off, this puppy should have air conditioning. She just came in here and gave me a look like we should have air conditioning. But be independent on lawsuits. It's a great way to summarize that aspect of our current situation. That's ridiculous. Ignoring the mainstream media, is what he's about to talk about now, and that's super good. But anyway, I'm making some notes here, like I mentioned, as we go along, and it's kind of redundant because Charlie does his own, but I'm doing it to help amplify his effort over there. So I did start a poll, and if you look at the poll, it says which is the best 2A event of 2022. So far, there's only 1 vote, and that's for the Gun Rights Policy Conference. So Smeggy's saying the Dragon Man is probably the coolest thing, but not the most 2A. Well, let's see. So obviously the 1 is bullshit. The second one is the Gun Rights Policy Conference, which could be debated. You've been to them, since it's going to be the exact same thing as you've been to before. You know what I'm saying? The DC project would be encouraging ladies who are doing their thing and are actually accomplishing shit. If anybody's the 4-wheel drive of 2A right now, it's the DC project. So their rally is probably the winner. Dragon Man's machine gun shoot is not just, I wouldn't even be putting it on here if it was bullshit. There are some bullshit machine gun shoots that just happen. Then there's some machine gun shoots that are the shit. And Dragon Man's machine gun shoot, although I haven't been to it, I know people who've been there and worked at it, actually. Some of the folks that help support us in a major way have worked at Dragon Man's machine gun shoot as a family. So anyway, Dragon Man's machine gun shoot is the most authentic thing that's happening for 2A. I mean, 2A is a thing that's what we use to have a way to conceptualize, right? A thing to talk about, and exercising it is, the goal, or at least the freedom to. Dragon Man's is there's nothing way to say it. Like it's the hot rod of 2A, right? He takes an amazing Cadillac and then is so audaciously chops it all up and turns it into a hot rod. So a Cadillac that a lot of people would just be happy to have as a cool thing, Dragon Man takes it, makes it his own, and adds to it in a whole new way. So Dragon Man's machine gun shoot, in a lot of ways, is one pinnacle of Second Amendment. Aspect of Second Amendment to a degree that no one has even had the concept of. So I hear what you're saying, that regular just events that do the Second Amendment, or use the Second Amendment, but Dragon Man's is unique. But Patriots saying DC Project is the obvious choice. It pretty much is. Dragon Man. Okay, and then that's it. Like everything. So I just wanted to take a sec there to adjust those points since we are live, and I have no idea how long this is going to take, but I got about a half an hour left. So keep listening. We're about 14 minutes into a 15-minute conversation, so there's no possible way for the math to work on this. We'll continue that. I look at one machine and wiggle my mouse on the other machine, and that almost never works.
Focus on getting on the 6 o'clock news and telling our side of the story. One of the most successful examples of that was we had our $10,000 gun show challenge. And what happened, but every, 3, 4, 5 times a year, the gun show would come to town, and the local news would run a story about how horrible gun shows are and how you can just go buy a machine gun and all this malarkey. So we decided, and then I'd get like a sentence, like, and Mike Schwartz from Sandy County Gun Owner says he disagrees. Whole story. And so I decided, you know what, we're going to do a $10,000 gun show challenge. Basically, have a press conference and say, hey, if you can do any of these things that they can do, if you can just walk in and buy a machine gun or whatever, if you can do those things, we'll give you $10,000. And so we got the entire article, and the other side only got 2 or 3 sentences. And so we drove, the message, which was really, really great. So number 2 is that they ignore media. They ignore whatever you want to call it, mainstream media, the 6 o'clock news. And then the third thing they do wrong is they purposely avoid politics. They say, well, we're just going to do like an educational shoot. Yeah, we're not going to, we just want to, talk about the sport of whatever. And they kind of have. The third thing they do wrong is they purposely avoid politics. They say, well, we're just going to do like an educational shoot. Or we're not going to, we just want to, talk about the sport of whatever. And they kind of half-heartedly talk.
That is such an important list of 3 things. I'm going to be using that over and over. So right off the bat, that is freaking amazing. But those are super good points. So we're going to let it keep going. But I just wanted to emphasize that again. Purposely avoiding politics is how we got to today. Is ignoring the same thing as compliance? Is acceptance compliance? I'm going to dip back in.
About the Second Amendment, when I think that we really, for years, should have been way more involved in good old-fashioned politics. Not just like, well, we're just going to teach Boy Scouts and hope that they like guns and eventually grow up to vote the right way. Right. It's great. Not that that's bad. That's good. Do all those things. But we've been ignoring one of the most important things, which is politics. Like, in the ring, roll up your sleeves, duke it out politics. And that's our forte. That's our number one thing that we do.
That's cool. That's cool. How did all this parlay into the Gun Owners Radio?
So it was never part of the plan, and we've really learned to. I swear we never say no. We probably should say no more often, but except the gun laws, right? New gun laws, we say no to those. But everything else, if somebody has an idea, man, we've built the organization so that it's infrastructure. It's a car, and if you want the keys to drive it, great. Tell us what do you need? What kind of resources can you do? And if you're willing to put the work in, we're willing to back you. Well, one of the board members said, hey, let's do this 1-hour show. Dave Stahl he was doing like 5 hours. He does 5 hours every Sunday. It was all on cars. And one of our board members, Lance Pelkey, he said, well, why don't we just carve out 1 hour and we'll just talk about guns. and we'll promote San Diego County gun owners. It'll be great. And that grew to 2 hours. And I went from being, it was kind of we'll just have you on every once in a while. And, you can say some stuff every now and then. Well, it went to a 2-hour show where, I'm on every single week and we talk about all kinds of stuff. And it's been really, really cool and rewarding. But yeah, it was never part of the idea. It was just a really, really good idea. Now Rich Newell took it over and he's the producer and he's doing a really great job.
Yeah. He's a great guy. That's really cool. Who are some of your favorite guests?
By far, it's 2 guys. They're kind of the same guys. They actually they work together. They train with firearms. Benji, I always mess his last name up. Benji Manabog, and then Angel. I can't remember his last name, but he's on Instagram. He's OG Pumpkin on Instagram. Both those guys had an amazing story. I really, honestly, it was one of those weeks where I just didn't do the homework I needed to. I had a lot going on, and I'm like, okay, who are we talking to?
Right.
And it was Benji. I'm sorry, it was Angel, and he was a ranger in the Army, but before that, he was a legit, violent LA gang member, and like a no nonsense, and he finally realized this is not going to work. I'm not going to get out of this alive, and he joined the Army, and it was a fascinating story. And I kept him on for an extra segment, and I just oh my gosh, this is great. He said, well, if you like me, what do you talk to Benji? We had Benji on the next week, and Benji was MARSOC, the Marine Corps has their special ops is MARSOC, and he was did a lot of drugs. He was a skater punk in high school, did a lot of drugs, alcohol, and he was in a death spiral as well. Wow. And a recruiter. It's funny, he went into the Navy recruiter, and they said, nope, just beat it. You clearly did. I'm not even going to waste my time on it. Wow. And this Marine recruiter took him under his wing and said, look, you come here every day after school and do your homework, and we'll get you into the Marine Corps. And literally saved his life. Wow. Both those guys are rock solid individuals. Benji does, his company is Thrash and Raid, which is a skateboard company. And he had Angel's OG Pumpkin. Both those guys were fascinating. I really, really, we talk about guns, we talk about the law, we talk about politics, we talk to attorneys, we talk to a lot of people. But what I really like doing is talking about people, not just talking to them or whatever. Like I want to hear, what makes you tick, what got you into this, right? How do you feel about things? Not just what you think. We all think the same thing. We all have the same opinions, except for the most heated arguments we get into are 9mm versus 45. Right? Well, they're both bullets and they're both going guns. I mean, we generally agree. But I want to know, where'd you come from? How did you get these opinions? Because I'm really fascinating. I remember we talked a lot when I interviewed you. We talked a lot about your background, what got you to this point. Yeah, and I think that's fascinating. I also think that helps us being, gun owners relate to people that aren't gun owners or just aren't really immersed in gun owner culture. I think it helps them relate. Like, oh, hey, all right, yeah, I'm a guy just like that guy. Yeah, it helps a lot.
Absolutely. I mean, this is one of the objectives of me starting my show and doing my show. I want people to see that gun owners are regular folks.
Yeah.
Like we're not crazy lunatics. We're not bloodthirsty. Drink the blood of babies from skulls.
Rarely do we do that. It's gotten so expensive. You just can't do it anymore with inflation. Yeah, no, I hear you. It really is though, and again, I keep talking about our membership, but I'm so proud of the fact that we have Republicans and Democrats and Libertarians, and all kinds of different political folks and people in the LGBT community and people of color and all kinds of different folks. And I'm really, really proud of that. Men and women. We haven't looked at it lately, but I think our membership is darn near 50-50 men and women.
Wow, that's amazing.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm overstating, but it's really high. We have a high concentration of women because we talk about safety. We talk about, hey, we want to keep you safe. It's not fair that you can't defend yourself, right? And that's something they relate to. That's something everybody relates to.
All right.
What did you like about gun crime? What stood out to you? What's something you really kind of noticed?
Well, I noticed that one. I noticed there were a lot of people, and I know last year you said what it was limited to 999.
Yeah, we had just under 1,000,
which is hysterical to me.
This year was a little lighter. We had somewhere in the mid 750, something like that.
That's incredible. I think that's the thing that stood out to me is I've gone to a number of events around the country, in different states that are pro-gun events for pro-gun groups, and this was huge, like huge.
Yeah.
Like I was totally bowled over. I was telling people over the last month. I said, "Hey, I'm going to San Diego to this thing called Gun Prom." They're like, "Gun Prom? What's that?" What are you gonna marry your gun and date your gun? I'm like, "You're being ridiculous." I'm like, "No, you're gonna dress up. You're gonna hang out with." I said it's a fundraiser for this group, and you dress up, you hang out.
Yeah, it's actually the Second Amendment celebration dinner.
Nice.
But what happened was the first time we had it, everybody, got all dressed up, showed up, and nobody recognized each other because we were all dressed up. We all knew each other from the range or whatever.
Yeah.
We're just like, oh my gosh, and so that it was it's in the spring, so it got gun prom and it stuck. And I actually went out and bought gunprom.com so that we could put information up there.
That is really cool. Yeah, it was huge. There were a lot of people. You could tell from different walks of life. Not everyone was dressed up, fancy and all, done up really nice.
Yeah.
You guys had you raffled off what, like 2,000 guns?
Like 35.
35. Holy moly.
Yeah, like 34, 35 guns and a tomahawk and a flamethrower.
And a tomahawk and a flamethrower. I missed the flamethrower.
Yeah, the flamethrower was cool.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so you're auctioning off a lot of stuff, and man, I think it's great. I spoke at an event back in Massachusetts a few years ago, and it was on a Sunday morning in November at like 11 o'clock. I was telling some friends, I'm like, hey, there's this event, I'm going to be speaking at it, you should come check it out. And they're like, oh, can they do it on a different day? I'm like, they're doing this. There was the Capitol Rally, the 2A Capitol Rally.
Right.
And at 11 o'clock in the morning, somebody was speaking. This event was on the every state capital at 11 o'clock that morning in their own time zone. And they're like, can you change it? Like, we can't make it that time because we're going to be watching the
Gotta watch the pads.
You gotta watch the pads. I'm like, boy, the ironic thing is you're going to watch the Patriots instead of
being a patriot.
Like, it's really ridiculous.
Well, I'll tell you, what I've really learned and had to practice is, the first few years of activism, you're really charged up, you're really passionate, and you don't understand why everyone else isn't in the same place you are. And so you get frustrated with people and you start yelling at them or whatever, right? You just can't do it. You gotta just put it out there, gather as many people as you can at whatever event you do. And be understanding that people, hey, you know what? I have a different priority today. I might have a different priority next week. But it's enormously frustrating. It's frustrating when people are like, I gotta go watch a Pats game. Really? You gotta go watch it. I mean, this is the Second Amendment, today's Pats game. So.
Right.
I get it, but we've just really, if you gather enough people, you only need about 10% of them to show up at any given thing, right? So, I mean, we have 3,200 members, and we had like 750 people.
That's pretty incredible.
So yeah, but I mean, maybe and you consider people bringing dates or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to figure that's like 1/6 of our membership. So, but hey, we still had 700. 1/6 of 3,200 is still, Yeah.
What? There's a lot of program groups out here. Like, What is the California gun
San Diego kind of
group?
there's some so the NRA, everybody does a little bit different thing.
Yeah.
The NRA has a representative in Sacramento, and he he's in charge of talking to the Assembly and the State Senate and that sort of thing. There's the California Rifle and Pistol Association, and they also have a representative that does that. They endorse people running for office, at least on the state level. And they do some education stuff. They do a lawsuit here and there. And of course, Firearms Policy Coalition is doing amazing work.
Yeah.
They started here in California. Now they've gone national. But in their education, but they file lawsuits. They find something to sue over. They find plaintiffs. They find funding. They find an attorney. And they put it all together. They've done an amazing job. We've partnered with them really well. We're on like 5 lawsuits with them.
That's cool.
And it's really nice. We're playing. Of course, there's Gun Owners of California. There's an organization that's tightly affiliated with Gun Owners of America. Gun Owners of California and Gun Owners of America was started by the same guy. He was a state senator here in California.
Oh, cool.
H.L. Richardson back in the 70s. And still run by his granddaughter is still involved in the organization. His daughter, his son-in-law, plus a bunch of other people. Anyway, they're really great. Sam Paredes and everybody is really, really great in Gun Owners of California. So we all just do different things. We all play our part, like we don't endorse on the state or federal level. We just endorse on the city council, county board, sheriff level. We all just kind of play our part. And it works, it's working. I was about to say it works really well. If it worked really well, we wouldn't have these horrible gun laws, but it's working, and there's definitely a light at the end of the tunnel.
That's awesome. You guys are spread out to some other groups too, right?
We did a couple of years after San Diego. Orange County, some folks in Orange County reached out and said, "Hey, we want what you have here in Orange County." So we started that. We also have there's Riverside and San Bernardino County, which it's called the Inland Empire. Those two counties combined. So we have Inland Empire gun owners. So that's 4 different counties. But that's actually, there's 3.5 million people in San Diego. There's 3 million people in Orange County, and there's like 4 million people in Riverside and San Bernardino combined. So, any one of those areas is, bigger than 15, 16, 17 different states. A lot of people. San Diego is bigger than 19 states when it comes to population. So there's a lot of people. A lot of people in the next year doing LA. And it's all the same branding. It's all the same mission statement. It's all local. It's all nonpartisan. It's strictly Second Amendment. It works really well.
Would something like this work in another occupied territory state?
I think so. We've had inquiries from, if it's too much one way or the other, I don't think it'll work. If it's too anti-gun or if it's too pro-gun, I'm not sure it'll be all that effective.
Gotcha.
But there are a lot of places that are, 50-50 or 60-40. And we've had inquiries from Maricopa County, which is, Phoenix, Arizona, Clark County, which is Las Vegas.
Really?
Yeah, Michigan, people in Virginia have called.
That's cool.
It's a lot, but it's a heavy lift. You can't just plant your flag and say, "Hey, we're doing this thing." We're a professional political organization, and there's a lot of infrastructure behind it.
It's a PAC, right?
It's a PAC, Political Action Committee. Yeah.
That is amazing. That is unbelievable that you got it away.
And we're going to keep going. Like I said, LA is next, and then the only thing holding us back is funding. It takes a little bit of seed money to get one of these off the ground, and that's one of the lessons I learned. Orange County, we started Orange County Gun Owners with $1 with 0 money.
Wow.
And that didn't work. So it took us a little bit longer for them to be successful. But we have a professional executive director full time running Orange County. We have one.
Where do you see the group going?
Oh well,
How far? Not that it's ever going to end, or not that it's. There's always going to be work to do, but where's it headed?
well, good question. The goal is from broadly is to have thousands of members, which we have 3,000 in San Diego. We want each of these groups to have thousands of members, 5, 6, 7, 10,000 members, so that they can have the funding to make sure that every city council member, every school board member, every county board member, and every sheriff is pro Second Amendment. Every single one. So until every single person in those positions across the entire county is pro Second Amendment, there's a lot of work to do. We're not going to stop until every single one is pro Second Amendment. So we've set it up to where this is going to be they will all be here long after we are not. It's going to continue.
That's an awesome legacy.
I'm very, very proud of all the work everybody's put into it. A lot of people have helped, and a lot of people have been most successful. It's awesome. Yeah, I want to, probably 5 or 6 of these, 7 or 8 of these in California, and then we'll start looking at other states. Utah, we've had inquiries from Utah.
Wow.
And people are fooling themselves. People in Arizona, their senator, one of their senators, runs an anti-gun organization. In the last election, they voted for Biden. So people are fooling themselves when they say, "Oh well, gee, it's just California. It's just 4 or 5 states." You've got to ever vigilance. That's the price of freedom. So places like Utah, places like Nevada, even parts of Texas are becoming very anti-gun. And I believe that our organization, our model, is the ounce of prevention for making sure that doesn't happen. So that's the goal. Spread all over the place, all over the country, different counties.
That's awesome. That's great. Like it's hard to believe that it's not hard to believe there's anti-gun folks. It's hard to believe that they're becoming more emboldened and they're braver in all of the things that they're doing. Whether it's the the doxing of the SCOTUS members, going to their house, and protesting right at their houses. That's not cool.
Yeah, it feels like they're running out of ideas too, doesn't it? It feels like part of the reason anti-gunners are becoming so brazen with their actions is because they're running out of ideas.
Yeah.
So many things are getting implemented or struck down in court, whatever, becoming unpopular. It used to be, not a lot of people remember this, in the late 80s and early 90s, it was a very real idea. They wanted to ban handguns. Basically, no civilian would be able to own a handgun. That was a real proposal that was getting traction.
Yeah.
And that's become completely, that's political suicide these days.
Oh, yeah.
Which is great that it's political suicide. That means that the culture has changed. We as gun owners have made that change happen. But they're kind of running out of ideas. They're running out of, and so their ideas have gotten so extreme that they're either struck down or unpopular, that their actions are now, the only thing, their actions are getting to be extreme, I guess. Feels that way anyway.
It's, I remember when, oh my gosh, I think it was when George Bush was elected. I listened to Rush Limbaugh last night. Like Rush, I think it became popular in the 80s. And he said, so, they're like, well, there's a Republican in the White House. What are you going to do now? He's like, have to talk about it. And I feel the same with the anti-gun folks.
Yeah,
You know, they're not going.
it's a fact.
They're well, they are going places. They're going to Texas. They're going to Arizona.
Big time.
And we have the same thing in Massachusetts. We have these anti-gun folks in Massachusetts that move up to New Hampshire so they can live for your guy. And then when they get up to New Hampshire, they're like, hey, we should have seatbelt laws.
Yeah, we don't want to be that free.
Right. And you're like, wait a second, it's not that. Like, it's live for your guy. Like, if you want to wear a helmet, wear a helmet. If you want to wear a seatbelt, wear a seatbelt. Shit. They got put you.
It's funny.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
But, you know, like I said, I feel there's a huge light at the end of the tunnel. I can see the light at the end of it. I think that next year is going to be better than this year. 5 years from now is going to be better than that. You know, we're better. San Diego is better when it comes to the Second Amendment now, today, than we were 6 years ago.
Yeah.
So we just keep making progress, you know, holding back the beatings, you know.
Yeah.
And we just hold that back, just hold the line, and continue to work on the culture and advance good things.
Yeah, that's great. And it's if we can keep my attitude is if we can keep the fight in the 8 states that are what's what I'm looking for may issue,
Yeah,
right?
right.
You know, with the
CC, the carry permits. We're a May issue state now.
yes. If we can keep those in the May issue states, in the May, if we can get rid of them, that'd be obviously ideal. But if we can't get rid of them, like we don't want New York to spread. We don't want California, New Jersey, Massachusetts. We don't want this stuff to spread to free America.
Well, and that's one of our biggest accomplishments. Is a few years ago, you can now get a CCW, you can get a carry permit, a California carry permit in San Diego for the first time in decades.
That's
And
incredible.
the number, they're issuing a couple hundred a month now. It's gone up like 600%. The amount of permits that are issued. It's a huge deal. It's it's always May issue, but we've got it to the point where it's in essence.
Yeah,
It's pretty much shall issue, but not quite.
right. I had Joe Tribisi, right? I did a show with him, and he was saying that he has seminars where he helps people fill out the application letter and the letter for why they want to have a carry permit. And he says this is what they're looking for. This is what they want to know. You know.
Yeah, that's another part of San Diego County. That's another part of our culture. We're really no nonsense. Hey, we want guns so that we can defend our life. No nonsense. We'll show you how to write, a good cause statement so you can get a carry permit. Like, we'll get right in front of you, sit down with you. Well, let's just write this thing and get it done. We'll show you exactly how to do it. No nonsense there. Our women's program. If you're a woman who wants a gun or training or a carry permit, I'm just going to hand you a pamphlet. We're going to, pair you up with a volunteer who's trained, and she's going to help you get it. And if you need a discount because it's too expensive, or you need a grant because you can't afford, we'll find the money and we'll make it happen.
Yeah.
And that kind of just roll up your sleeves. Hey, just do the things that it takes to get things done. That no nonsense thing is another big part of our culture. And Joe's a huge part of that. Joe Tribisi is kind of that block and tackle, nuts and bolts kind of stuff that needs to happen to help people buy guns, carry guns for defense, do it all legally, know the law, be proficient. You get right in and do it.
One of the things that came up with him is he's that maybe having some sort of training requirement is not such a bad thing. And he said he had a talk with you and a few other guys. He got re-educated.
Well, yeah, it was just a discussion. We need to be able to have discussions. it was. I know what he's talking about. It just kind of came up like, hey, maybe there should be some kind of requirement.
What a bunch of fucking assholes.
Training, and it just turned into a discussion. It was a very intelligent discussion. But yeah, the idea, we gun owners, we need to continue to be responsible and spread that attitude to other gun owners so that there will be no government mandates to do this stupid stuff.
Mm.
So they don't, government doesn't screw it up.
Right.
But yeah,
Yeah, it's I said with him, it's like the whole Spider-Man thing. Great power comes great responsibility. And
nice.
And people need to learn, like, when you can, when you can't, and how do you interact with police officers if you're pulled over. And I talked to so many friends that they'll say, "What do you carry? Personal protection. You protect me and my family and my kids." And they say, "What are you going to pull a gun? So what if you get into a fight on the side of the road?" I'm like, I'm 52 years old and I've never been in a fight on the side of the road, so I don't really anticipate that, And then I try to point out to them and say, listen, if you're going to use a gun offensively, then you probably aren't smart enough to have a gun yourself. You probably shouldn't worry about that.
And the gun community, we have a tendency we are the best at making mountains out of molehills. With our no, it's got to be this way. It's only Weaver stance. That's it. Or Weaver stance is horrible. There's no good that can come with Weaver stance. We make these mountains out of molehills, and it seems like there are people. There are people that are really, really, really into the nuances of every little whatever preference. Not just rules. The safety rules and safety rules, but. And then there are people that aren't educated enough at all about, they don't know the floor safety rules. They don't know about muzzling, whatever. Mm-hmm. My goal is to get way more people like in between that, right in the, kind of in the center, where they're not, I don't need them to know, the 52 reasons that isosceles is better than Weaver,
right?
Or modified is better than both. I don't, But let's make sure that everybody knows the floor safety rules. Let's make sure that everybody knows the basics of range etiquette. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of second nature in society. So that it's just a part of society. We're driving around. Everybody knows what to do when the light's green and the light's red.
Yeah.
You barely, you know what I mean? Like everybody, whether you drive or not. And I wanted that ingrained in culture. I don't know how a combustion engine works, but I know what red and green means. We can get everybody to that level. That'd be great. But yeah, we get. I'll tell you, the last month was rough after that horrible,
the incident in Texas.
Horrible incident in Texas, and media was, on us, and they were demanding answers from us. Gun owners had nothing to do with it. It was this guy that had horrible,
horrible upbringing, horrible life, horrible life situation,
and there were all kinds of problems, all kinds of mistakes made, and they, it's but we got to be able to push back on that, and we got to be able to stand up for ourselves and say, hey, you know what, don't, my Second Amendment isn't the problem. My rights are not the problem here. We're pillars of society.
Yeah. There's a number of studies that come up and said that gun owners are the most law-abiding group of people there are.
Yeah, particularly the CCW holders.
Yeah,
commit less crime than the general population and less crime than cops.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
It is.
And that's the best part. I can tell you, the best part of our organization, I get to meet the best people in the city. The best, most creative, the most successful, people that are, make San Diego what San Diego is, make San Diego great. And, I get to meet them. We get to, they get involved in the organization. I said, gun owners are great people.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, listen, we're almost back to where we need to be.
Okay.
How can people find you? How can they find San Diego County Gun Owners?
Sure.
All the stuff you guys are up to.
Yep. Go to, there's a couple websites. Go to San Diego County Gunowners.com.
Yep.
San Diego County Gunowners.com is about the organization. And then go to gunownersradio.com. And that's the radio show.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And we love, follow us. I gotta tell you, if you're listening to this from another state, adopt us. Adopt San Diego County Gun Owners. Make the decision that, hey, I don't want this stuff in California coming to my state. So I will happily send you guys $10 in California to fight the fight.
Fight the fight, absolutely.
Consider it. I think it would certainly help.
Very cool. All right, we're about to see next.
You made it.
Whew.
That's close.
What else? We gotta wrap it up. I know we're gonna take a left here.
I appreciate your show, man. I think you do a great job. I love what you do, and I'm so thankful that you came out here to spend time with us and see Gun Prom.
I thought this was great. I'm glad to be able to make it. You guys took care of us well, which is great. John Petrolino said this is the only, because of his work schedule, this is the only thing he can come to. So his wife's like, we're planning on going. We're going to turn it into a vacation. Do you want to come with us? I'm like, you serious? She's like, yeah, you come with us. I'm like, okay, let's do it. So I've been looking forward to it for a long time.
Awesome.
This has been great. This has been a lot of fun. I really like the weather right now.
I was about to say, I'm sorry about the horrible weather. Isn't it beautiful?
It's great. Like, it's a little bit of a breeze. It's not so hot. It's not really humid. Man, this is great.
This is what makes it all worth fighting for.
It does. And I love going to I love going to events like this and meeting new people and boosting the friendship,
Yeah.
which is what it's about as well.
Yep.
So very cool.
Cool, Charlie.
We're gonna wrap it up before we go over. Wrap it up right here.
Awesome. And I'll be sure to give you 5 stars on the app.
All right, let's make it official. Michael, thank you so much.
Thank you, man.
We'll put links in for all your stuff.
Okay.
We'll get the word out. We'll share links and people can listen to the show. I know they can watch it. Where can they watch the show?
Gun Owners Radio?
Yeah.
Watch it on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Gun Owners Radio. But all the links are on gunownersradio.com.
All right. I used to end up tuning in and watching the show on through the Facebook Live.
Okay, good.
Which is pretty cool. So,
Good. Yep.
awesome.
For sure.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. Listen, if you are not a member of the if you're not a member of the Second Amendment Foundation, you need to join them at saf.org. You can donate to them at the CCRBKA. That's the Citizens Committee for the Right to Keep and Bear Arms. And you can check out all of your favorite pro-freedom podcasts at sdrn.us. That's the Self-Defense Radio Network. And if you haven't subscribed to Running Shotgun with Charlie, please make sure you subscribe to it. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share it with your friends. And this is how we get the stagecoach across America. And again, Michael, thank you so much, man.
Thank you, Charlie.
It's a pleasure.
Awesome job.
We'll talk to you guys soon.
Bye.
So it's the end of that show, but I still got a couple of things to do here, and I'm going to try to finish them before it gets to be too late into the next thing I need to do here. But first thing I did was find that Richard Gatling being born was missing from the calendar, and these are pretty easy things to update. I just open them up and update the date to the date that it is. And it looks like it's the 12th. And then save that. And then this one will be from 2023. So this will be next year's version. Saved. So I won't have to do this next year. This one will be 2024, so I won't be doing this in 2024. Hopefully some intern won't be doing this in 2024. I opened it too many times, so now it's happening in 2025. Completely ridiculous. It's way too far into the future for this practically, but I got it open. And this one, I'm just not gonna. Okay, that one's not a part of it. Okay, so that was kind of an accident, but now that one's projected off into the future. When I refresh, that'll show up on the 12th. There we go. So that was to get that guy on the 12th there. I've been going through here. There's a couple of things I don't post, a couple of things I do, like the sewing machine was patented on September 10th. It's kind of interesting because it's a gun inventor that made the sewing machine. I forget which one now, which one it was, but it's neat. And then we got patches and stuff, so it kind of all fits, but I don't do it. And then the Colt 1850, September 10th. So I don't have that one in there. So this is what I do is I go in, I look for the events, and then I'll search for Colt 1850. And there it is. It hasn't been up for 2 years. So duplicate, 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 search again. That'll find them all. Open a couple of them in new windows and then edit this one. This one will be this year. Come on. This one, you're faster than a computer because I could have done this if my head faster than this computer's keeping up with me. And this was on the 10th. So there's this year. I won't wait around for that. Here's next year. I won't wait around for that. And then here is 2024. So some intern won't be doing this for a couple of years. And now I can close all of those, refresh the page, and on the 10th over here, there'll be a third item, Colt's 1850 revolver patented. Oh, dang it. There's no picture on it. I got to open it. Edit it. I forgot what's up with that picture. Make that picture on there. And I type in Colt. No, so I'll just put that in there. Update it, and now on the calendar for September 10th, we got a picture at least. All right. All right, that was in patent number 4,500,000 approximately, by the way. Oh, I really want to put this one in here. Colorado voters. Yep, so now I need to go back into here, jump over to here. And this time I'm going to type in Colorado vote. And then this should find Colorado voters removed the Democrats in 2013. So let's duplicate that 3 times, search for it again. That'll find all those duplicate drafts. We'll right click on a couple of those, click on this one, flip the switch on this one so that it is this year's. After all, the whole point of this is to motivate and inspire, and people who live in states where nothing happens and people who live in states where it all happens all have different opinions of what's happening. So putting it down in front of everybody with the least amount of, I don't know, editing as possible. I don't put no editing on it. I don't bother with insignificant dates. So there's that kind of editing. Let's see, then we can refresh that page. And now on the 10th, we'll have 4 items. And one of them is Colorado voters remove Democrats who supported gun control in 2013. So take that, Democrats in Colorado in 2013. Guess what happened after that? That's right. A whole bunch of organizations came up out of nowhere to claim credit for that work and then to collect, put their hand out, so to speak. Alaska, Quackenbush on the 8th. Got that. Suppressor. Oh, wait. Good. I have a new one in there that I didn't even have over here. And then Galil, or Gal, I guess. Oh, I don't have Ludwig Vorglimmer. Do I? Ludwig Vorglimmer is on the 7th. No, I don't. Should I add Ludwig? Oh, man, I don't know. Something gets missed, and if anything, it'll be Ludwiger. That's the Setney guy. Nobody cares about Setneys. It's Bergum, Glenn, so Reginald Smedgley, Baby Hammerless. Damn it, on the 3rd. No, I got him. Okay, good. Weatherby I'm missing on the 4th, though. That's kind of important. People like Weatherby's. It's a big name. So, easy enough to jump back in. Flip back over to, come on. Flip back over to here. That's when you know you're faster than servers. I'm both faster than servers and the internet. Let's see. So this was born. So died. Looks like I got plenty of dieds out there, but I don't have a born. So this is the way it happens. Whenever he was born in April, I went through and did a bunch of years, but now we'll do the 1, 2, 3. Search again and update. A couple more years worth of the years he was born. All right, so this one will be this year. Okay, we got the picture in there, so we're good to go. This one can be next year's. And then this one will be the year after that. So if you meet us back here in 3 years and you're watching this, you could be like, man, you should have done it 4 years, and then we wouldn't have to be watching this. There, and then we'll refresh this. And now we'll see something happen on the 4th right here, Weatherby. So we have a scroll going at the bottom of the screen, and it thanks our Patreons, the people that give me the ability to even contemplate taking an hour away like this, or maybe 90 minutes away at this point, 90 minutes away out of a week to do this. Like I say, it doesn't bring in nothing but a bunch of Patreons, dwindling number of Patreons support, and that pays a chunk of the bills, enough of the bills for me to continue doing this stuff without a bunch of useless advertising or messages that confuse what we're trying to do here. So, or what we're trying to offer, I guess. So we have a bunch of people answering the poll. It looks like DC Project Rally won. So you're all, well, Oprah is going to send everyone who voted for the DC Project Rally. Oprah is sending you all to Washington, DC. So if you look underneath your chair, you got a gun from Oprah. You're welcome. Well done. Thanks for voting in the poll. A lot of other people don't bother with the poll option, even though it's free and available for anybody who wants to use it. That's how much they care about their live chats. Just saying. So thanks for participating in the poll. Thanks for watching us live. It's like you took a bunch of time out of your week to update the calendar as well. Let's take a quick minute and see what all's happening in September before we end the show. The 1st of September is actually, yeah, wow, it's a weird one. The 1st of July is the big one because that's when most gun laws seem to take effect. But in Texas in 1995, September 1st was the 73rd legislature's time when they passed a law that only called for a statewide referendum on concealed handgun licenses. So basically, it was the September 1st in 1995 that Texas started offering concealed carry permits. We had Glenn Binden, who was Shurjikhan. He died in 2003 on September 2nd. Also on September 2nd, the Pittman-Robertson Act, which is at risk right now, was initiated. Reginald Smedgley, where Smeggy was named after, was born on September 3rd, and that was back in 1876, and he made a little tiny revolvers for bicyclists. Then you have Weatherby being born in 1910 on September 4th. I'm going to go through all these, but we've got Eugene Stoner's gas carrier being patented, Berdan, the primer guy, being born, Uzi, the guy, Uziel Gal, the guy who invented the Uzi and worked on the I can't think of it, worked on the Galil, died when he was 79 years old. American Espresso Association was incorporated in 2011, the same day that Henry Quackenbush, the father of the modern air gun, died back a long time ago. Alaska passes constitutional carry. What? I thought Alaska was the land of the free. Yeah, well, they had to pass constitutional carry this month in 2003. They were the first state to do it, after Vermont, who never even prohibited it. Glock pistol was patented this month. The Colt revolver was patented. Isn't it weird that both Colt and Glock were born on the same day, and they both patented a pistol on the same day? Are they the same dude? Colorado voters removed Democrats who supported gun control this month in September. Back in 2013, there'll be a Veterans Top Shot Invitational at Cape Gun Works on September 10th. Hugo Schmeiser died. That guy is the some German jerk Nazi. Gatling gun guy was born this month. Assault weapons ban was created and sunsetted in September. There was a lot of celebrating back in 2004 when we all just ran around buying AK-47s on the streets. Missouri constitutional carry became a thing in 2016 this month. POW MIA Recognition Day is this month. That's a time set aside to remember those who were prisoners of war, POWs, and those who are still missing in action, MIA. So POW, MIA means the prisoners of war and those who are lost, missing in action, as well as their families. Let's not forget the individuals who don't come home, leave wakes. And USPOW MIA Recognition Day is observed the third Friday in September. So it floats. The same day as the rally for the DC Project in DC. Hopefully they'll fly a POW MIA flag that day. I'm sure a couple of those ladies have parents and grandparents interested in that. The Constitution Day is the 17th. Dragonman's machine gun shoot is the weekend of the 17th. Air Force birthday is that weekend. They were born in 1947, way after the Army got sick of having them around. 9mm gets their own stupid day on the 19th, so all the 9mm people, they don't really celebrate. They just sit around moping, and they just get discouraged, and they become really negative. It's a really frustrating day for them because they don't like recognition, and they're sad that they even like their 9mm. It's really a bad day, so let's pat them on the back, let them know it's all right. 13th annual Second Amendment March is happening in the state of Michigan. I know there's some jerks in Michigan, but there's also some good people in Michigan. Patriot's over there. He's from Michigan. He's a good dude. So anyway, they're doing their 13th annual Second Amendment March on the 21st. That's a Tuesday. You've got Savage being died the day after, and Nambu being born the day after, separate years. Schmeigel, Hugo Schmeigel, remember that guy? He was born and died in the same month. How creepy is that? Jeff Cooper was passed when he was 86 years old in September, on the same day that we honor Gold Star Mother and Families Day. So Gold Star mothers, Gold Star families are people who have lost people overseas. So on the Friday before, we're going to recognize those who were lost and those who were POWs, but some died, and those have parents. And we want to honor the mothers who let their children go to do everything that they do. Tom Deeb was High Point, and he was born in 1949, and he has passed away since, but he was born this month, or September, I guess. Arizona passed CCW and bars. So yeah, we were the second state and the first state in the modern realm to come up with CCW and constitutional carry, both. And at some point, we decided, instead of just constitutional carry, let's also let CCW go back to being in bars. Let's give people who have the responsibility enough to have a drink or whatever and not go crazy to do such. And that also changed what am I trying to say? Like it changed the economic situation because a lot of bars couldn't, or you couldn't go to a lot of restaurants that had some beer on the menu or something. So it really lightened things up, and that's since 2009. So if we want to talk about precedent that exists to indicate that gun owners are not violent, Nevada, for example, has never restricted. You can drink and carry in Nevada. You always have been able to. You can carry concealed and drink in Nevada. It's no big deal. You can't be drunk and reckless, of course, but you can drink. Drinking is not the same as being drunk and reckless. Owning a firearm is not the same as being violent. So there's precedent in both Nevada forever and in Arizona since 2009. In Arizona, until 2009, everybody thought you were not capable of being in possession of a firearm personally if you had an alcoholic beverage. And in 2009, we set the record straight, and the precedent has been since then that there have been no issues with constitutional carry people being able to carry in bars. I like to put that stuff in there because a lot of times people get discouraged. If you listen to people that only pay attention to the headlines, then you're only going to pay attention. You're only going to be fed things that make you want to come back. You're going to be fed the addictive, sweet, salty stuff that keeps you hungry. You're not going to be aware and move on to live the rest of your lives comfortably knowing you're supporting those things that are valid. So I like to put some things out there as indicators of how far we've come, and that it hasn't been on an accident and it hasn't been owed to us. Instead, it was done through the efforts of individuals who literally grind themselves into the dust doing it. Then we've got the Lautenberg Amendment. It's an important one to put in there. I'll let you read about it, but it's the whole beginning of the boyfriend loophole, which will have dire consequences if ignored. That same day, the last day of September, is AmCon. So people that are lucky enough and can afford to get to Dallas will be at the AmCon, helping each other learn about things that they learned about last year. And then in the rest of the weekend is the Gun Rights Policy Conference, where the gun owners' rights groups get together, take the stage alone or in groups, and give people an idea of what's been going on, what they've accomplished, what they might need, the resources that they have available, and the things that they require. It allows the organizations to meet up for a weekend. It lets the activists and those that are supporting the above get in there and have a weekend, at, not quite at their leisure, but at a recreational pace, unlike some of the other industry events where we barely have time to say hello to each other. Gives all the people in the realm of Second Amendment activism an opportunity to get together. Since this will be the first one that's getting together in real life for a while, you might get an opportunity to check that out as it happens. And then certainly after it happens, we see some consequences. So with both the DC Project Rally this month and the Gun Rights Policy Conference, it should be a good month for Second Amendment preparation and planning. I also like to throw in there for people who are in Arizona and members of the Arizona Citizens Defense League, the memorial services for David Kopp are going to be on the 10th up in Phoenix. I'm sure you can get that information from the AZCDL. I got it from a newsletter that they sent out. All right, well, with that, I'll thank everybody for showing up. How long were we on live here? We're about 90 minutes, so I'm only about a half an hour into what I need to be doing. But this allowed me to update the calendar and kind of recap it here. We also listened to Riding Shotgun with Charlie, talked to Michael, what's his name, from Gun Owners Radio, Michael Schwartz, Gun Owners Radio out of California. Super cool interview. Highly recommend you check it out. I have been creating some timestamps as we were listening to it. We talked about the gun prom. Come on, man. So he talked about the gun prom being both a fundraiser and a friend raiser. Thought that was a great way to say it. Changing culture is their goal, which is a main point of that. That's awesome. He's a full-time activist, meaning organizes people, raises money, and engages media. Talks about that in a little bit. And then he talks about, a little later on in the interview, 3 things that Second Amendment people get wrong, and well, I should say gun owners get wrong. Second Amendment people tend to be okay with this stuff, but gun owners get wrong, and that's way too much dependence on the lawsuits. And I've always been saying that for a long time. When you ask somebody who sells you cheese what you should put on your hamburger, guess what they're going to tell you? It isn't lettuce. There's a clue. So if you talk to lawyers and people that pay lawyers, guess what? You're going to find a bunch of lawsuits are the answers to everything. So that's great, and you need them, but it's not the answer to everything by far. You're also going to find that there was lobbying that was effective for a while, and then it wasn't effective, and now everyone's like, oh, well, now lobbying is useless because we don't like the way that one guy did lobbying, which is also short-sighted and stupid. But that was his first point, was that we're way too dependent on lawsuits. That was awesome. Then his second point was that we're ignoring the mainstream media, and he offered a couple of examples of how he used the mainstream media's ignorance and ambivalence against them, which was awesome. It's definitely the way to understand the playing field and use things to our advantage. And then lastly, purposely avoiding politics is the route of cowards. And I agree with him that, well, he didn't say it that way, but I'll say it that way, that those people that exploit by taking advantage monetarily or for their other, ambitions they have, but the people that exploit the arena that's protected by those who fight or challenge the laws that would eliminate the arena are basically wasting everybody's time, and they're exploiting. They're just taking from the mix. So purposely avoiding politics is compliance with infringement. Fight me on that if you want. When I have a debate on that, let's talk about it. But ignoring politics is compliance. If you don't bring up the challenges that exist in ownership, then you're exploiting the opportunities. You're taking advantage of the opportunities that others are providing, and then not even giving them credit for it, and not even letting people know that this is happening due to efforts of others. So it's weak, and it's what's happening out there. So I'm glad that he brought it up in a little bit nicer way than I will. But it's great to see that other people see that from their perspective. And then finally, fundamental aspects of being a 2A activist, having reasonable expectations. And I'll tell you what, if you ever want to listen to a Yoda of 2A, go listen to that interview. I mean, there's a lot of hardcore stuff. I'm guessing a lot of people ain't going to understand some of that, especially if you're kind of new to the cycles. This whole thing is a bunch of cycles. If you're only a couple of cycles in, you might not get some of the stuff that Mike talked about. I mean, you'll hear the words, you'll understand what he's talking about, but there's some deeper meanings to some of his stuff. And that last point at the 25-minute mark, 25:55, the fundamental aspects of being a Second Amendment activist and having reasonable expectations with your reach is awesome. It takes a while to get to that, and not very many people get past that. I'll tell you, after years of watching people come and go, that's one of those final battles that people don't, that's one of the final levels that people don't get past. That boss, that's the boss that takes out some of our best activists over the years. So having reasonable expectations, keep them in check. I'm going to look forward to having a conversation with Mike at some point when he gets time to do it. And till then, you can check out Riding Shotgun with Charlie. I think he puts out videos like on the second and third Thursday or Tuesday or something like that. There's some schedule to it. And then you can check out Gun Owners Radio every Sunday in the afternoon here in Arizona, at least. I think it's it's probably 6 o'clock p.m. for the rest of you on the metric time zones. And you can listen to some valid activists who are getting stuff done on both of those channels. All right, y'all are here. Thanks for being here. And we'll wrap this one up. I will try to figure out how to apologize for being at least a half an hour late to what I need to be doing here. And we'll be back later on tonight with 2A in Louisiana, I think. So even though it looks like a boot, they might have more than a boot gun in Louisiana. Talk about that later. All right, thanks for watching. GearWebsites.com is your source for firearms-based playing cards and books. We also have mugs, shirts, and posters with designs that we've made live. Of course, we have patches. Every Friday is Free Patch Friday. We appreciate your support. Thank you for shopping at GearWebsites.com.
Tonight's episode, The Endangered Species.
Thank you for supporting our projects. If you'd like to buy us a cup of coffee, check out our Patreon channel.
The guys and gals at gunwebsites.com encourage you to take a CCW class every year, practice at least once a month, and carry every day. Thank you for watching gunwebsites.com. Do 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 do.